So we're in the middle of h'tשכ, concluding the maamer and answering the questions that were raised at the beginning of the maamer. So he says that the pasuk Monoh afar Ya'akov and mispar es Reva Yisrael. So both are talking about the neshama, the mata, down here, engaging in avodas birurim. The first part of the pasuk that talks about Yaakov and Ofar and earth, that is the first level of avodas birurim. We're extracting the good from the bad or the bad from the good. However, a mispar esrova Yisrael, that's already a higher avodah. That's a level of Yisrael. That's already a level of pnimis haneshama. So here the avodah is oichel mitoch oichel, extracting the good from the good, or the edible from the edible, as opposed to the edible from the unedible. So the birur, the maamer repeats this many times throughout the maamer, the birur of extracting the desirable from the undesirable happens in two ways: from below to above, a reflective light, avodas tefillah, extracting the undesirable first, or ba'ofen of a yosher, which is to extract the good, the higher elements first, and then the higher level of good, and then the lower levels in level after level. So this is Dafke Yaakov and Ofar, because just as we just said, that's the level of the neshama that engages the world. Now, we're up to Vagamba Dargas. I don't think we said it. We did, yeah. So one of the questions was that here it's countless. Mi Monoh, who can count Afar Yaakov, even though we're dealing with a lower level, not Israel. And Israel, he says the word mispar that lends itself to a meaning that it is counted, so that it's altogether very strange. So he answered it already. Then why is it L'mayla and mispar? We're looking at the second paragraph of h'tשכ, the last three lines, which you learned. And the answer in these three lines are the kivin shavoida levaris inyan ha'ofor adei Torah mitzvah. How can we extract and elevate the world? It's not by getting down to the world on its level and then working to refine it. That will not work. You're part of the problem and making it worse. But rather, Shem l'mayla me hagbola, because he has to bring to the world Torah mitzvahs, which is higher than hagbola, which is infinite, boundless. And that's how he's able to dig this deep and extract sparks that are extremely resistant to being elevated, because they're so concealed and misfired. About Torah mitzvahs, the pasuk says your mitzvahs are very broad. Very broad means boundless. So here's the tremendous achievement of this, since we're bringing Torah mitzvahs to elevate these sparks, as a pearl, gamla mata bafar Yaakov. So Torah mitzvahs being boundless. So this brings this bligvol, this boundless revelation of godliness even into the world, and that's the meaning of ba'ofen de mi Monoh, who can count the mailim and mispar, higher than number. So avodas birurim, he answers, is higher than number, mi Monoh afar Yaakov, because it happens through bringing mitzvahs which engage gashmias but are connected to Anoich Hashem Alekecha. That's the mi Monoh. Clear? Now, good. The next paragraph. Now, the second. No, we'll soon get to this. No, he's still continuing now and elaborating on Afar Yaakov, on the boundlessness of the avodah dafka, the earth, and extracting the nitzutz kedusha that are in a state of concealment. The desirable from the undesirable, or taking the undesirable from the desirable. So it continues now. We'll understand what it says in Medrash. Ala posuk, and the posuk in Shir Hashirim, which says, El ginas egois yodadati. I went down to a garden of nuts. It's referring to walnuts. So ma egois hazeh. So why why is this moshel invoked? The Medrash gives, I didn't count, but many answers to explaining why Yidden are described as a garden of, not just a garden of any fruit, a delightful garden, but a garden of nuts dafke. So ma egois. So just like the nut, so you have a sack, literally a bag, that's full of egoism, full of nuts in your hand. So it's full. Yet, you can put in sesame seeds into this bag, and you can put mustard seeds, and the bag contains it. Even though it's full, you can't put another egois in there, but you can put in sesame seeds and mustard seeds. So what's the nimshal? Kach gam geirim bo v'nitaysu so. This is the midah that Yidden in Golos attract converts. They're the sesame seeds and the mustard seeds. And then the Medrash concludes with our posuk. Hahu the Omar, that's what the posuk says. Monoh far Ya'akov, who can count the earth of Yaakov? So it's a reference to Geirim. Bekitza, we see from this Medrash that the earth is a reference to Geirim. And that Yidden Dafken Golos, that's where the Geirim are emerged or elevated or extracted. As he goes on to say, what's the unit of a Ger? It doesn't just mean the literal convert, it means the whole Avodah, Avodah Sabirurim, which the convert is also obviously a very dramatic example of. The question is as follows. There's not so many Gerim that Yidden attracted that the Medrash should conclude that you can't count. Monoh. That the expression who can count the earth should apply. There isn't that many. But the answer is, he explains in Torah, Gerim, they wanted to go on, Gerim are the sparks of holiness that fell and got sunk in the opposite of Kedusha. And that's the whole reason Yidden are in Golos, is to elevate the sparks. The var of the Zachar Chalahalis and Tzutzim, to refine and to first extract and refine and elevate the sparks, until they become part of the sack of the nuts and the Neshamas Yisrael. And we just said, in order to do that, you have to bring only through Torah mitzvahs, which is boundless, and that's the Monoh far Yaakov. Monoh far Yaakov, Shin Yeriba Nitzutzis. So it's not so clear, because he said before, the Monoh is because Torah mitzvahs are boundless. But now he's talking about the actual sparks themselves. It could be because it's talking from Torah, and it's a very high madrega, so it's believable, possibly. At any rate, it's the many sparks. The answer here is that the Gerim is not just, they're not so many. We don't just mean literal converts, we mean all the sparks of Kedusha that you didn't elevate. And that's Monoh. That's boundless. So there's two things about the Monoh. One, it's done through Torah mitzvahs, and the sparks are virtually boundless. Not so clear. The sparks do have a number. Actually, there are a number. There is a number of sparks. It's a great number, but it's still a number. So the true Monoh, the boundlessness, who can count, is because Torah mitzvahs elevate them. But still, he seems to imply also who can count also refers to the Gerim. How could that be? There's not that many. The answer is it's all the Netzutze Kedusha, which is a huge number. Fishina Berurim B'Tachlis and Shamalamata. The whole purpose of the Neshama coming down is Avodas Berurim, You need the tzedek aliyah, that the descent should cause an ascent. And what's the ascent? Is Monoh. Who can count this? Revelation of godliness that is boundless, virtually of Torah mitzvahs, and virtually boundless, at least, because of the many sparks that are elevated through Avodas Berurim, which is the inyan of Geirim. Riboy Nitzutzis, the Geirim Shnitoisva B'Yisrael. So the question that we have on remained is that boundless? It can't be, first of all, because if there's endless numbers of sparks, they'll never end. So it's not. There is a specific number. But by elevating them, we reveal the boundlessness of Elikus in the world. And also they are a great number. When I say there's a number, are you familiar? There is a number. Can you tell me the number? There's a hardcore number, which breaks down into smaller numbers, which we learned many times. I'll remind you. Anybody?
Is it the 600,000? Is that what we're referring to?
That's Neshamas Yisrael. V'ruach Elikim berachefes al pnei hamoyim.
248.
Reish pei ches meis. 288 sparks. Where does the number come from? It's Shem Elikim, spelled with the milui of Ayin Beis 4 times. It's 4 elements. That's the number that have to be elevated in the course of history. Now that breaks down to many, but before we get to where we are now, you don't remember, Chavre, there were already a great number of these sparks that were elevated a long time ago. I'll give you a hint. When Yidden came out of Mitzrayim, what does the pasuk say? Ve'erev rav, and a mixed multitude went up with them. That's in the Tzutzik Dusha, they elevated in. So what's the rav? It's 202. So subtract 202 from 288. What's the number?
202 plus 288.
I thought you were adding it. Subtract.
I'll subtract.
Pardon?
Subtract 202 from 288.
Yeah.
86.
86. That's begin Matrateva. Shem Alekim. 86. Once that ever said in the early years, there's only 86 sparks left. It's not such a big fight. But they're deeply embedded, and they themselves fragment into endless, virtually endless parts. The Maisa is in everything that you own. Every part of the world that's in Litzis Gdusha. So the truth is there's no number. There's no number that could encapsulate. You couldn't write the number. You just end up writing zeros forever. You couldn't do it. It's virtually endless, but not mamash. This is a whole mathematical, the philosophy of math, but it's virtually endless. The components of the world, the atoms of the world. There's all in Tzutzik Dusha and all of them. And doing Torah mitzvahs, we elevate. So, like he said in the Maamar, it's definitely Riboy Nitzutzis. But the true bleakfulness is the Torah mitzvahs, which fuses with the nitzutz, elevates the nitzutz, that is revealed as a result of Avodas Berurim in the world. And that's the meaning of Monoh Rafar Ya'akov. Yeah? We're good? We're continuing now. So you're going to remember that those numbers. It just finished describing the world was Tohu, Shviras HaKelim. And what was the Shviras HaKelim? What happened? The sparks fell. How many sparks fell? 288. And with that number again is 4 times Yud-Ke Vov-Ke B'Milui Ayin Beis. 72 times 4 is what?
288.
Huh?
288.
That's the number. 72 times 4. So then why 72? But again, it's the Dalad Olamas and the 4 levels. Don't have. So right away, the Avodah began in elevating the sparks, and then Yetzias Mitzrayim was a very big push, a very big elevation there, and we're left with 86 sparks. They're a tough lot. B'gematria teva. I'm just thinking that it could be. I mean, the thing how the Rebbe said, this is Chilik Aleph base given the Chilik Aleph, I think. Like it's an easier avodah the last 2,000 years. It could be that B'gematria teva, yeah, and before it wasn't teva. B'gematria teva only starts after Yetzias Mitzrayim. It just occurs to me now that before Yetzias Mitzrayim, the world then was a deeply occult world. The koiches of Klippa and Tumah were supernatural or subnatural, that whole tkufa. And to extract and combat those Netzutz Kedusha, Nissim and Moifsim and miracles, Yetzias Mitzrayim, Kriyas Yamsov, Matan Torah. Even Bilam is still the aftermath of Yetzias Mitzrayim, is a tremendous, empowered Moishe Rabbeinu in Klippa. But thereafter, Teva, not so much dealing with forces that are higher or lower than nature, higher than nature, but the Avodah is in Teva itself, and it's not such a difficult Avodah, relatively speaking. And it's shaykh to everyone. To battle the big klippers that are, it needs tzaddikim. And throughout history, there were examples of tremendous klippers and so on that you needed tzaddikim directly to elevate. But overall, it's just nature. It's in nature, and the Yid lives in Teva. B'Torah mitzvahs, he elevates the world, brings Mashiach. I'm just suggesting a possible. You follow what I'm saying? Doesn't require supernatural miracles. It requires Torah mitzvahs. Although here and there miracles are needed too. But even those in Mislabish and Teva, 67, Persian Gulf War. Let's continue now. The 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph of h'tשכ. Zeh Mashin is Bali Sev Gimel. We said this is what we said before in Sev Gimel Be'inyan. The Pasuk says, Oiv Hashem Sharei Tzion. Hashem loves the gates of Tzion. We call Mishkanei Yaakov over all the dwelling places of Yaakov, and the Gemara explains that Oiv Hashem Sharei. What does it mean? Sharei Tzion, the gates or the portals of Tzion. Oiv Hashem She'orim. The Gemara says, Amutziyonim Ba'aloch. Hashem loves the gates of those houses of study which excel in halacha. Yosim but the Knesset but midrashes more than the shuls and the bottom midrashes. V'hainu. What does this mean? Shebevad ha'tzarich lizgamen the bottom Knesset but midrashes. Obviously, certainly there has to be the avodah of satfila. But the Knesset has to be the avodah of limidat Torah, shakli v'tarya, and discussion, understanding, etc. Elu v'elu divelikim chaim. Of course, there has to be. Shezehu inyan tfilosi smucha limitosi. Abba Shaul said that he's always Gemara in Brachas. Abba Shaul said that he's always careful that his prayer should be next to his bed. The Gemara says it means he davened by his bed, didn't go to shul. No, it means that he always got up. The first thing was tefillah. Before he learned, even his whole avodah was limedat Torah. He had avodah tefillah before. Because if there isn't, then the limedat Torah is not what it should be. What about chassidus? How come we're learning chassidus before davening? It's for davening. The whole thing of the avodah tefillah is connected to the Eibush. That's what chassidus opens our minds and hearts to. So that's what he meant, that he was always careful. He reckoned a few things that he always kept. And that's one of them. If he davens before, then his learning is where it should be. Why? Because he will know and remember, oh, this nice enough to remember about the giver of Torah, not get lost in intellectual
Stimulation.
huh?
Stimulation.
Yeah, in the world of Seichel, not just get lost in the world of the world of academia. Told you once. Yeah, my friend Moishe Spalter told me, he was a Fabrengen in 770, he felt Chassidim. So one of the Chassidim, I think it was, now I forgot who it was. Anyway, he said to the Rosh Yeshiva there, Shalom Shalom, Chassidish, that he says to him, Du bist gegangen studieren. You went to study. The words you used were like you went to university. You're in university. So what's the Fabrengen? Who was it? I'll remind myself who it was. The Ziknei Chassidim was all with love. You studieren. The guy's Rosh Yeshiva. It was we saw Friedman all of a shalom. Go on Oilam. So that's what he meant. He was needling him. Because he's a hair splitter. He was spent on a Rashi or how long? Tremendous Daikin. And, it's a profoundly, rigorously intellectual. About Ram Ben Shimon, as a Talmud Muvik of him, as a Bach and Olei Torah. Ask about him. Endless analysis. It was just needling him that you're lost in the world of intellectual, rigorous academic analysis. So there's a nice in Torah. I mean, this is a healthy exchange in Mat Chassidim. This older chassid could say it. He was holding, I'm trying to remember what it was. He also meant that a bit in jest, also the challenge or whatever. You see, it made an impression. It was a teenager or even younger was there. He remembers it for many years. But he had a good laugh, that's for sure. A healthy chassidish laugh. It's a thing I don't know. You guys don't see it. It's a pity. Maybe you do. Once upon a time, if I bring it by chassidim, one said a sharp word to the other one, and there was not a comeback, a defense, or a touche by Fabrengen. It's meant with love. It's ha'tshkach brought this for sure. I mean, and a person took it in, Pinimis, and because the one who said it meant it. It's a little bit raw, that's the l'chaim, that's the point of it. It's not so much, the l'chaim, by the way, is not so much that the one who says it raw. It's the one who hears it softer. It's for the recipient. It's also for the speaker, too. I mean, I've been witness to Fabrenges where strong things were said and not a word from the one who was said to. And accepting it, mamish, but, lovingly and working with it. He's right. So for sure, they say back to the mind, but for sure there has to be what the avodas hatfilah. They should remember the nice and that's the only way that the halachic ruling will be a true ruling when there's bittul. Hashem was with him, and the Gemara, the pasuk in Shmuel, the Gemara says it means that the halacha was like him. Why was halacha in the discussion with the Sanhedrin? Why was it by him? Because of his humility. Because of his humility, he was machaven to the Hamitasa Shal Torah, what Eibishter wants. in Peil Mamash. Shalacha Moishe b'chamokim, and every Gemara in Sanhedrin, in every dispute, Allah was like David HaMelech. So there has to be a this tefillah for sure. But that has to lead to, it can't stop there, the point is. It has to lead to, Allah has to lead to the gates, the gateway that excel in halacha, psak din halacha l'maisa, the final clear-cut ruling for action. So what do we do? How do we engage the world? How do we elevate it? Because that's the, because that's the way Avodas B'rudim happens. By the final ruling, and therefore that's the old tachlis that Neshama came down here. So you have a new appreciation of the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe wrote Tanya. He was Megala, the Rosin, and he wrote the Shulchan Aruch. Why did he write? He did. He pulled him the Reis and other levels. He certainly learned her on that level. But what is his legacy? Kevayochel. His previous HaTorah and Halacha L'Maaseh. Because that's the point. The whole point is, with all its inspirations, then to engage the world, Halacha L'Maaseh, Psak Din B'Poel. And what do we do? Do we engage this? Do we reject it? Etc. The Rebbe would say he was a Pesach in previous HaTorah in the Shoma in Yonim, and a Pesach in Nigla.
Shnei Oyer.
Huh?
Shnei Oyer.
What do you say?
Shnei Ar.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the diak of Tzion. Why is the halacha referred to Tzion, the gates of Zion? The gates of Tzion. Kibitzion Teitzei Torah with Var Hashem B'Shalayim. There's a mighty dikabir of the Rebbe on that pasuk related to what we're talking about here. Tzion Dafke Kvish Mavah Tzemasetik B'Rishim Latilim Zatzamach Tzedek says in his Rishimis, his notes as it were on Tilim, as follows: Shetzion b'gematria Yosef. Add it up. Tzion is b'gematria Yosef. Know someone do the math, the arithmetic. What is it? Huh?
156.
I don't know. I'm trusting you. 90 and 10 and 6 and 50. Yeah. Yeah, good. And Yosef? 80 and 60. And 6 and 10, yeah? So what's the connection? What's Yosef got to do? The Inyan Yosef, Commissioner Kosov, Yosef, Hashem li ben Achbar, she called him Yosef, Rochel, because with his birth, she prayed right away that Hashem should add another child. And she did, she had Binyamin. So what's the deeper meaning? That Yosef's Inyan is, Shegam me'acher, from another, Nasa ben. The outsider becomes an insider. A stranger, the foreigner, who's externally foreign, becomes the child. That's the meaning. Yosef Hashem li bein acher. Hashem will add to me a child, a bein, from where? Acher. Extract him from where he was being trapped in Lumazeh. That's the avodah of Yosef. And that's Gadim. That's all of Gadim. Shnei Tois be sold. You said before, goes in Tzutzik Dusha that we elevate. Acher becomes a ben. Shayidezem is barbel batoyo. That's we said before. The riboy oiris of the riboy oiris, the mimon afar Ya'akov. We suggested it's also because it's not also, it's all part of it. Oiris the toyo. He says it here. And they're boundless, relatively boundless lights that shattered the vessels to begin with. But now we're accessing it and revealing that light, lamata, in a refined world. Revealing it down here. It becomes elevated from the world of Toihu, which is where it comes from, and we bring to bear those lights. It is the Toyo, but now Kelim the Tikkun. And this is what the pasuk therefore means. Oyev Hashem shari Tzion mikol mishkan Yisrael. Now revisiting the pasuk with the appreciation that Tzion is begematria Yosef, and Hashem loves the gates of Tzion from all the dwelling places of Yaakov. Ki eilet. So 1 second. So which means I've got to end now. In the next minute or so. Just go. I have to understand what it means. Okay. So we stop here because we have to start at 5:2. We'll continue tomorrow. Eil the tell this Yaakov Yosef.